we have a quorum, and so I hereby call this meeting of the DRB to order on January 5th, 2026. So, great to see everyone. Thanks for understanding that I'm remote today. We'll do a quick round of introductions of board members and staff. I'm Catherine Burgess. I'm the vice chair of the DRB, but our chair, Rob Goodwin, is out due to illness today. And so I will pass it into the room, and then if the board members in the room could go around, that would be great.
Meredith, will you just introduce yourself as staff?
Meredith Crandall, staff.
Kevin O'Connell, board member.
Alex Salas, board member.
Joe Kiernan, board member.
Elvira Dana, board member.
Great. We can pass it online to Bill.
Okay. Yes, I'm Bill Jolly. I'm an alternate board member. I'm a non-voting member tonight.
Okay. Great, thank you. Well, I've called this meeting to order, and we can get going with our two applications. First, I'd like to welcome Meredith to review the remote meeting procedures and the process, and any questions can be asked at this time.
Okay, I will keep this fairly brief. Alex, you might want to mute your Zoom. Doesn't look like you're muted.
Well, I didn't join audio, so.
Oh, okay. Well, whoops, now you're connecting to the audio. Sorry. Okay, perfect. Yep, no, I heard a weird background, so I just saw that you didn't have it muted, so no worries. All right, so I'm going to share my screen for anybody who's watching via Orca Media or people who are doing this for the first time. Oh, where's my, give me just a minute. All right, I'm gonna have to just do this manually. Okay, so for anyone viewing tonight's meeting via Orca Media, you can participate in the Development Review Board's discussion via the Zoom platform through either video or telephone access options. If you want the full Zoom experience, full video experience, you can, I know it's a long link now, but you can type this link into your browser. Alternatively, you can call into the meeting using this phone number, and when prompted, put in this meeting ID and then passcode. If you have any problems accessing the meeting, please email me at mcrandall@montpelier-vt.org. For everyone attending via Zoom, turning your video on is optional. For everyone who is attending, please keep your microphone on mute when you're not speaking. This will help reduce background noise. And if you are a member of the public who wishes to speak during the meeting, please raise your hand so that the chair can call on you. There will be select times during each application for members of the public to ask questions. The Zoom chat function should be used only for troubleshooting or logistics questions. If you have a question or comment about an item on the agenda, please do make sure to raise your hand. You can do that either physically if your camera is on, or by using the raise hand button on your toolbar. When you have been called on to speak by the chair, please make sure to state your name and your address if you live in the city of Montpelier. That way we have that for the record. Okay. In the event the public is unable to access tonight's meeting, and I would find that out via email, then the meeting will need to be continued to a time and place certain. I will now hand the meeting over to the vice chair.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Catherine.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry,
Oh.
Vice Chair, you got
Okay.
no. Thanks for your willingness to help out, Kevin.
That's okay. We were just trying to figure out the mechanics of this arrangement, but got it.
Yeah, we'll make it work. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to be there in person today. For folks in the room too, both Kevin and Joe have volunteered to support if we have a lot of public comment and need to be more aware of the dynamics in the room. It sounds like it's a quieter evening, but we have that capacity if needed. So let's move to approve the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
So we had a first by Alex, a second by Joe. We can do a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, I think we have the agenda approved. So I will keep the comments from the chair quite brief tonight. We have 2 applications, and I also want to thank the board members in the room who've offered to help out if needed with sort of keeping an eye on everything in the in-person session. So we can move straight into 0 Elm Street, and the applicant is Frog Hollow Development LLC. And it's a request for exemption from minimum access spacing for a new curb cut. Before we get started with the initial remarks, we'll be swearing in witnesses at the beginning of this application hearing and then again at the beginning of the next application hearing. So all those interested in providing testimony, would you please raise your right hand, whether you're in the room or online, to be sworn in as a witness?
And so Meredith Kitfield, if you're wanting to speak or you think you might speak on either of these applications, try to, you can undo your video and undo your camera, have that going and raise your right hand. Oh, perfect. Awesome.
Great. Oh, thank you for doing that. So do both of you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
I do.
Hey, thank you. So at this time, Meredith will provide an overview of the application and highlight some key elements of the application on which the board will have to make the determinations.
Thank you, Catherine. So the board's seen these before. This is an application for a new curb cut where the spacing for that curb cut doesn't meet the minimum spacing in that zoning district under our zoning regulations. As I've noted before, we're Planning Commission is looking at making it so these items aren't something that has to go to the DRB, as long as the Department of Public Works is happy with the proposal and the design, and or adjusting what those minimum spacing requirements are, because this is a issue that seems kind of silly to be coming to the board all the time. But it is what it is. So it's here. That is really the only item that's an issue. This is just a curb cut. It's been designed for a specific range of potential development on this vacant parcel. But what that exactly will be is not clear yet. But right now there's no curb cut into space over a sidewalk. And so as its own parcel, there's a need to be able to access that parcel.
Thank you, Meredith. Is that all for your introductory remarks?
Yeah, that's it.
And thanks for the context on the city council as well. So with that, I'll turn it to the applicant to give a presentation about the project.
Great. Good evening. My name is James Moore. Nice to see you all again. I hope you had good holidays. Welcome back. I think as Meredith noted, this is an application for locating the curb cut on this parcel. It's on Elm Street. You all may be aware that a subdivision happened to create this parcel not so long ago. We consulted with the Department of Public Works regarding the best location on this lot to put the driveway. Really, there aren't that many options. It's not that much road frontage. And what we were considering from the development perspective as we put this in, one was to kind of put it in between the driveways on the same side of the road, kind of fairly evenly spaced from those. But then really, one of the other main considerations is there's a really nice large tree that takes up a fair amount of the frontage on that location. It's located here, or it's shown as the 30-foot oak kind of on the site diagram. And ideally, we would like to be able to preserve that tree. I think it's nice for the street, and it's nice for the lot. We're not certain we're going to be able to do that, but this driveway location certainly gives us the best opportunity to do so. The development on this parcel is not part of this application, but there is that green dashed line that runs from kind of the top of the page down and slightly to the right. That is the river corridor location. So any building envelope will be in front of that is required. So we won't be having any building behind that line. And we matched the specifications that the Department of Public Works requested for the driveway when it came to size and material at the apron. I think that's probably it. Unless there are questions that I can help address.
I have a question. At this point, you do not have a project that you're working around. I mean, you're still, parcel will be prepared, but there's no structure that's planned.
Correct. This permit is just for the driveway location. Yep.
I have a question too. I take it that on the left side of Elm Street in that diagram are the driveways that have called forth the need for this hearing, right? They're the ones that are at least 45 feet. Are there three of them? They're not very clearly marked. Are there three of them?
Yep.
Yeah,
And had you put it on the other side of that big tree, there would only have been two, or
No, because then we'd be too close to the driveway at
Right.
491.
right, so a 45-foot parallel no matter where you look.
Yeah.
yeah. There's nowhere to put a driveway here that doesn't conflict with that
That's
45
right.
foot distance. This is just another one of those parcels where there's no way to do any curb cut without it having to come here under the existing rules. Even if DPW says this is the best possible location, I still have to bring it to the board.
Are there any other questions from board members?
We're all clear here, Catherine.
Okay. Well, with that, do we have any discussion? Would board members like to reflect on any of the material in the staff report?
What about Meredith?
Yeah, Catherine, I don't know if you want
Any
to
questions?
see
Yeah.
if Meredith Kitfield has anything to say.
Yep, absolutely.
response?
Meredith or any other members of the public, do you have any questions about the application?
No.
Nope. And does anyone in the room have any questions about the application?
Everybody here is applicants.
Okay. Well, for board members then, it sounds like, I think this is very straightforward. We had a few good questions. Does anything else come to mind in reviewing the staff report? I think Meredith called out, a few key areas to be aware of. And, as she stated at the front end, this is really all about the curb cut spacing and has already been in discussion with DPW. Any other, do we potentially have interest in moving quickly towards a motion, or is there any other questions or points of clarification from the board?
I think that, Catherine, this is Kevin. I think that given the fact that we've reviewed this project in various forms for quite a while, and we don't seem to be having additional concerns or design review that requires board attention, I would think that we're probably ready for a motion to to act on.
That's great. And it's also, this is merely about the curb cut versus any
Right.
other design or development questions. So if others are comfortable, I'd be comfortable moving forward with a motion, especially given the level of familiarity with the site. Oh, Meredith's here. Thank you. I haven't done this remote before.
Oh, nope, no, and this doesn't have anything to do with the process you're taking. This is just a point of clarification and for on the record. In my flu haze, I did include the wrong parcel number on the staff report and on the agenda. So
Oh, okay.
it is not parcel number 157013004. And this will be something that'll be fixed in the decision when it comes out. It's parcel number 043-491-001. So that's really a technical issue that's not really germane to the passage in the motion. I don't think I didn't put the parcel number in the motion. It's all about the application.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure that was clear. I was going back through and it got called to my attention and I realized I had a couple of different emails from our assessor giving me parcel numbers for parcels that didn't have addresses and I had grabbed the wrong one when I was doing the staff report.
Well, thank you for your hard work when you were recovering from the flu, because that's never an easy situation to be in. So. Okay. Well, do we have a motion?
I do have a motion. I just have one question first, though. Have you spoken with the adjacent property owner yet? Mr. Matthew Backman, I believe it says, at 493 Elm Street. I'm just curious if he's aware of the project or.
It would have to be because he would have been done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he would have gotten a letter, a notification of this hearing.
Yeah. So how do I answer it? So one, he would have gotten that notification from the city. Two, I did hang up the placard. Three, that family is parents to a kid who's friends with one of my kids, and I talked to him about generally the development back when he's a surveyor, back when I was on the lot, but that was months ago.
Okay.
So not, with that exact location. And then obviously the new folks, Paul and Stephanie Fournier, just bought that house as part of the subdivision and are aware that there's going to be residential development on the new lot.
All right, appreciate it. Happy to make a motion then unless some other board members have questions.
Nope.
All right. Motion to approve construction of a new curb cut with less than minimum at 0 Elm Street as presented in application Z-2025-0130 and supporting its supplemental materials with no conditions, I believe. Oh, wait, with the following condition. Applicant shall obtain a construction access permit from DPW prior to commencing construction.
Great. Motion by Joe. Do we have a second?
Second.
Great. A second by Kevin.
I have a discussion point
Oh, okay.
on the motion, so I'm not sure whether it would be in addition to the motion or what, but the staff suggestion and our precedent says that we approve this by relying on the expertise of the Department of Public Works as part of the motion.
It can be part of the motion or it can just be a finding within where it has it in the section part.
Either way.
Either one is, it's up to the board if they want to put that in the motion itself or not.
I just think it should be in the record.
Yes, it will definitely be in the record as a finding and conclusion of law for that section. I'm going to ask that somebody make a friendly amendment though to put spacing after minimum in the motion. I forgot to put that in. I typo again.
No, less
Sorry.
minimum
Spacing, yeah.
0 Elm Street.
I can't make the amendment, but you can amend your own motion.
That is an amendment.
And
All right.
Kevin would need to accept the amendment.
No, Catherine.
Yeah.
Oh, Catherine.
Yeah, I can accept the amendment. Oop.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
We're traveling on unused paths at this point.
Thanks, Catherine.
Oop. Well, do board members want further discussion or are we comfortable moving forward? And Alex, the point that you made as well, it did come up in the discussion of the application as well. So we have that on the record there as well as in the findings.
I'm satisfied.
Okay.
We have a motion and a amendment to the motion. We also had a second in there at some point. So we need to make sure we've got everything lined up here.
Yeah.
You second to the motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah,
accept.
you were the second. Joe, could you perhaps read it again with the
Alright.
revision, just so we have no confusion here?
Try number 2. Motion to approve construction of a new curb cut with less than minimum spacing at 0 Elm Street as presented in application Z-2025-0130 and supporting and supplemental materials subject to the following condition of approval. Applicant shall contain a construction and access permit from DPW prior to commencing construction.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. Would you like to second again, Kevin, or anyone else?
I'll accept the modified motion. And that's the second.
Great. Okay. Well, we can move to roll call vote. I'll vote yes, and then I'll send it into the room. If you could go around, perhaps start with Kevin.
Yep, yes.
Yes, Alex.
Joe votes yes.
Elvira votes yes.
Okay. Great. So we have unanimous approval. Thank you very much for coming in and sharing the project today. And yep, appreciate your time.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for your service.
Per usual, written decision will be the actual approval. I'll get to that as soon as I can with Catherine.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Okay.
Okay. Great. Thanks, everyone, for being very efficient today. So we'll move into our next application review, our second for the evening. Now we have the opportunity to swear in any witnesses. Do we have anyone from do we have the applicant in the room?
Yep, they're
Yes.
coming up to the microphone.
Great.
Oh, that's the corner. That's Orca.
Or medias and stuff.
No, they're multiple. Trust me. Yes, sometimes. So we've got the media backup back at the Orca main. Then we have Chambers Control, and sometimes there's a third Orca that's on here as well. So yeah, no. They make sure that if something gets dropped, it's still continuing.
Great. I see we have the applicant. I don't think we have anyone else new online. So if you could raise your right hand, please, if you're interested in providing testimony to be sworn in as a witness. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Okay, thank you. At this time, Meredith will give a general overview of the application and highlight some key elements on which the board will have to make determinations.
Thank you, Catherine. Okay, so this application is a little different than what the board has dealt with recently. I'll let Mary or Leo do the project as a full, but this is before the board, mostly because of screening, both with regard to whether or not there needs to be any for this expansion of a parking lot. And in this case, it's taking a parking lot that had been just for use for the business that was on the site, and now having it also be used for some parking for an off-site business. So that's our surface parking use. So that becomes a new primary use here, but it's adding parking spaces, quite a few parking spaces, almost, I think it's like around doubling the size of the parking lot per spaces, but there's no new impervious cover. But typically that would need to be screened from the street. But because this is going to be a sort of long-term temporary, right? Maybe a couple years, 3 years use, because this is the old RK Miles site where all of the warehouse places burned down, those structures. It didn't feel like I didn't feel right saying, yes, you have to put up the fences, you have to put up landscaping. I really wanted the board to be able to weigh in on this. I can't condition an approval that is that detailed and that many exemptions because it's temporary. That would be something that the board can do, that it has discretion to do. I don't. The other thing of note is that the fence that's in place was a need security wise when this was a site that needed to have, fire debris removed. Nobody was there. Nobody was in the business, the main building that's still there. And so with those safety issues and security issues in mind, I did not require a zoning permit to have that installation of this metal fence that was put up. That was clearly a temporary fence. It is taller along the street than the zoning regulations even allow the board to approve for a front yard. But you're still dealing with security issues. So my thought was that, again, the board might have some discretion under its temporary and a conditional approval to be able to layer in some conditions for a time limit, things like that, for the co-op to be able to continue using that as some of the security issues there to protect the employee only parking. Again, this is a little bit of it feels like a little bit of a tangle, but really it's about temporary screening situation to try and meet the requirements sort of in good faith while also recognizing that this isn't supposed to be a long-term use of this piece of land. So that's why I brought this before the board versus just saying no, denied, and then having them have to appeal it or something.
Can I ask a question about the fence? Had there not been an application for this parking purpose, what would be the fate of that fence that's currently in place? Like, at what point would it be called under question?
So anybody who wanted to use that building would have to come to me for a zoning permit because it's been vacant for over a year after the RK Miles moved out. So anybody buying that property was going to need to come to me for a permit. And at that point, I knew I was going to be able to step in on the fence and say either, okay, what you're doing here doesn't require a fence anymore, so get rid of it, or you have a whole development plan, you need to bring the fencing into compliance. I knew there was a place to step in on that, especially once I knew RK Miles was planning to sell and not go back into that space.
No permit to be requested.
Then
it could remain in place until such time as
I would do enforcement, right?
Okay.
Eventually I would say, hey, yes, I kind of did a little bit of a blind eye, but there's a statute of limitations, a window in which I can go back and say, hey, new owner, it's in violation. You can't keep the fence up. If you keep the fence up, then I'm going to file a notice of violation in the land records, and it's there, and it starts. So as soon as I file that in the land records, the potential for penalties accruing every day that the fence remains after that notice of violation stays in place. And if the city opted to, city council could choose to go to court to recover those fees if somebody didn't take the fence down.
Thank you.
So the RK Miles is completely out of the building now.
They sold the property.
They sold the property and the co-op obviously bought it.
So the thing is, people didn't get sworn in, so we're discussing. I'm giving you my back.
Say,
You're going to need to save questions for after people have been sworn in.
Yeah.
Context.
But yeah, that was a lot of context and background.
Good. I mean, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we get it right.
But we don't have to talk about striping parking spaces.
Let's get into that when we get into the.
Great. Well, let's turn it over to the applicant to hear a brief presentation on the, we need actually the.
Oh, you did get sworn in.
Yeah, they were sworn in.
Sorry,
so.
never my bad. Yep.
So yeah, we'll turn it over to you, to the applicant team.
Okay, thank you very much for having us here tonight. My name is Mary Malali, and
Leo Ormiston,
I'm the general manager, and Leo's
facilities manager.
yes. So both of us have been working on this project for a while now. Thank you for having us here tonight. So, as you've probably seen from the project scope, we're not sure yet what it is that we're going to do with the property. This is very much an interim step, which is why we're asking to sort of hold off on having to make a decision about the fence right now. What we would like to do right now is keep the fence in place and be able to add 19 parking spaces to the existing lot for staff parking. Parking, as you all are probably not surprised, is a challenge in Montpelier, and that we are not immune to that also. For staff. Let's see what else. So along with that, we're hoping to, well, I don't know. Do we just want to talk about the fence? I'm not sure just the fence.
I mean, you can give an overview of what you're doing there so they have the big picture.
Context.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if you'd like to show the site plan and point out anything on the site plan too, that's generally helpful.
Yeah, I'll put it up on the screen in just
Okay.
a second.
Thank you.
Just let me know if you want just the proposed, or I can move around as needed. Just let me know.
Thank you.
We'll go start with proposed.
Okay. So we're proposing to add additional parking spaces. And we would also like to use the property for additional, excuse me, office spaces and then storage of product as well. The co-op is growing and we are running out of space within the building. So we'd like to start using that property for additional product storage. What else? And we don't know, this is very, as I mentioned before, this is very much an interim place. The council is going to undertake a strategic planning process shortly, within the next month, I would say, which will run, I don't know, anywhere from 6 months to a year. I'm not quite sure how long that will take. And at the end of that, we'll have a better idea of what we're planning to do with the property, and therefore happy to talk more about fencing and screening and what that will look like for the longer term. But that's why we're asking for the fence to remain in the interim or for a short period of time.
But the fact that Stonecutter's Way is considered a front yard.
It's
Makes it seem so-
Great. Great. Yeah. Is that the full presentation, or is there anything else you'd like to talk us through from the visuals?
Is there anything else that
No,
you'd
I
like
think-
to share?
I think that was good. I think that's, you know,
It would be useful to know what, I mean, if I got it correctly here, you're gonna have a decision point in somewhere between 6 and 12 months.
I hope so.
Okay, and in the meantime, you want to preserve the existing situation, which would involve the fence staying. And that would be a further action at the point when you're ready to make those decisions.
Yes. Yes, we would, because we don't know yet what we're doing.
Well, you speculated in the materials that or your permit application that that you had retail space and office space, and I think there was one other thing, but storage.
Yes.
And does that seem to be consistent with what you're looking at now?
not
Yeah.
retail.
Yeah, not retail.
Not
space.
retail, okay, that's
Yeah.
probably my error.
No,
Yeah.
just storage and office space. But yeah, so that's this plan that you're seeing right here up on the screen is our interim step. Right. We're hoping to start using the property. We don't anticipate this will be our long-term plan.
Meredith, at the point, you know, a year down the road when decisions are being made for the next step, is that something that'll have to come to the board?
Well, so that's the board can condition this approval, right?
Yep.
To say that either the co-op or successor in interest has to come back to the board for the next phase, no matter what, whether it would normally come to the board or not. Or they can say that, and I think I tried to draft the motion this way, that they have to get a new zoning permit within 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, whatever time period you choose, to give them some leeway and some working room to come up with a development plan. But they have to come back either to the board or to myself, depending on what the proposal is, with a compliant screening and landscaping proposal. Because of the size of the property and the use that's there now, it is subject to site plan review, which means the landscaping and screening requirements, no matter what's going on here, unless somebody were to tear everything down and just put a single or two-family home on it, which I don't see happening.
Not unless you elevate it.
And it would have to be a very tall one because it would have to meet the minimum height
But-
requirements
But
too.
that does raise another issue. I don't believe that site was flooded in either 2023 or 2024. Is that true?
There was some flooding, especially in the parking lot.
In 2023,
Okay,
the first flood.
the
whatever.
first one.
Yes.
That's right,
Yes.
2023, July 7th, to be exact.
And it's a loss to the town, I have to say, not to have Allen Lumber or RKMLs in town, but
I would agree.
Yeah, the that parcel is in floodplain. So
Mhm.
that's whoever, if somebody builds there, any new buildings will have to be elevated to some extent.
Right.
It's a lower spot than the Hunger Mountain Co-op's site.
I had another question. My understanding is there's no proposed changes to or additional lighting. Could you talk us through that at all?
Sure, there's some lights already installed there. On the building. They were included in the packet,
Yep.
which is why we didn't suggest any new lighting.
are you confident that your staff will feel comfortable walking in the winter months with the lighting that's there?
I am, I think it's bright enough and it turns on shortly before we open and it turns off shortly after we close. So it's on a timer, so it's not on all night.
And our staff are generally pretty forthright with any concerns that they have.
Oh, I understand.
And we have not heard any concerns at all from them.
And to confirm, the parking area would be used exclusively by employees and vendors delivering products.
Just by employees, not even vendors.
Well, I mean,
the
they
trucks
drive
would come in.
trucks through and
Oh,
use
yes,
the.
yeah.
They're
when they
probably
start
not walking
delivering.
around the
Yeah,
parking lot.
Right.
Okay.
sorry.
Is there any overnight parking?
No, the gate locks at 9 o'clock.
And you're using the gate that was previously used by RK Miles.
Yeah,
That's correct.
Do we have any other Meredith's screen sharing here?
Yeah, I just pulled it back up. I was looking at something else and wanted to bring it back up.
Are there any other concerns by the board?
I think it might be helpful to hear a bit about the capacity to have a written agreement around the sharing across the two parcels of parking. Is that something the applicants could speak to? Obviously, the co-op owns both parcels, but that sounds like there is not currently any kind of shared use agreement.
That's correct, because we own it, both of them. So I think we just didn't necessarily understand not that we're opposed to it, we just don't.
Yeah.
I don't think we're aware of the.
Seems to me that it would be prudent to have that kind, because you don't know. And you would want to have access to those parking spaces.
So what you can do,
They don't.
um,
But you could do it at the.
is you can do like a parking easement.
Uh-huh.
So that if for some reason you end up having a development partner for the RK Miles parcel that they end up like owning part of it, there's a subdivision or something like that, or part of the land, moves around, that the co-op would still have rights to use part of the RK Miles parcel for its employee parking if it chooses to continue that, right? Or just have an agreement, because my understanding is it's a separate LLC that actually owns the 707. So it's an agreement between the different LLCs, even though ultimately the co-op is both of them.
Yes.
There's a way to you can either have an agreement that's just sort of a contract that then gets put in our file, although since it has to do with land use, I would recommend filing it in the land records. Or you could work out an easement. Either one of those, I would just talk to the co-op's attorney to figure out which one they recommend. And it's just, unfortunately, it's one of those things that is a requirement in the regulations, and the DRB and I have only so much leeway to not do what the regulations say if it's point blank.
Okay, that's fine. We're open to that.
Okay. Are there any further questions from the board?
Sorry if you mentioned this already. What's the future, 3 years from now? What's the plan?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
And that's part of what, where we're heading right now. So this is our interim, and the council and co-op is starting to embark on a strategic planning process, which will probably take us about a year. And then from that point, we hope to have an understanding of how we'll be using the property going forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Do we have any questions or comments from members of the public? I know no one was sworn in, but just in case.
No, it's pretty clear here on that account.
Okay. Well, board members, do we require further discussion? Or might we be at the point where someone would like to make a motion? I think there might be a question from, we have, some draft text from Meredith, which has a, if we were to move forward with a permit, a temporary permit, the draft text proposes a 3-year period of time. Did board members have any, thoughts or preferences around duration here?
That was really the only point that I found maybe worth discussing, and that was why I appreciated the context about what the fate of this fence might be otherwise. And you can imagine a scenario when it would simply remain in place for a significant period of time without change if no activity were to take place on the property anyhow. So to my mind, the 3-year limit that's proposed here is logical and in line with what could happen anyhow, or could have happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate also having more clarification around the co-op's likely timeline on strategic planning, and then knowing that typically there's some time required after those kinds of decisions to move forward with a development proposal. Anything else, any other questions or areas to discuss from board members?
I think we're good.
Meredith?
Just this is just a note, because I know that the proposed condition number 1 that I put in here is really, really long. Everything after I think that's the first sentence, is really just pulling out specific language from 3011E about what needs to be in that shared parking agreement, and so the board can read through it if people want to remove everything after that for at least 20 years and just put in compliance with section 3011E. I think that is perfectly fine. I don't think you have to have the rest of those sentences for it to be clear that that those provisions about if ownership changes or the use changes, then you have to come in for a different shared parking agreement. But those were just the key takeaways from there that seemed the most important to call out for the applicants and for the board to see whether or not they want to include those specifically or just by reference. But it's a lot to read if you were to read the whole thing.
Okay, I'll appreciate that clarification and that you're trying to make it as easy as possible. Do we have a motion?
I can do this one and you can see.
Who wants to read it?
Wanted to make sure I understood it.
Motion to approve the requested screening waiver for the addition of 19 parking spaces at 707 Stonecutters Way, including the retention of the existing chain link fence, so long as the razor wire is removed, as part of the administrative addition of warehouse, surface parking, and office uses on the parcel, as presented in application Z-2025-0129. And supporting in supplemental materials, subject to the following conditions of approval. 1, prior to permit issuance, applicant shall provide the zoning administrator with a copy of an executed shared parking agreement between owner and applicant, memorializing the right of Hunger Mountain Co-op to use up to 30 spaces on 707 Stonecutters Way for at least 20 years in accordance with section 3011E. 2, within 3 years of permit issuance, applicant owner or owner's successor in interest shall either A, remove the existing fence, or B, obtain a zoning permit for a different fence or other screening that complies with the then applicable zoning requirements, including, but not limited to, fence, screening, and landscaping standards.
Thank you, Alex. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. So we'll do a roll call. I vote yes. I'll pass it to Kevin to vote around the room.
This is Kevin, yes.
Alex, yes?
Joe votes yes.
Elvira, yes.
Okay, we have a unanimous approval. Thank you very much to the applicants, and yeah, thank you, Meredith, for the support today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Right, thank you for your time.
Let's have strategic plan. There's a lot of opinions.
So the written decision on this one will come out first as soon as I can. We've got a couple we've got to do. For this one, I won't be able to issue the zoning permit itself until you guys have the agreement worked out and get a copy to me. But so the sooner the better, because then we just, because they'll have sort of different appeal periods, but if we can consolidate them, it's good. But the board's decision itself is sort of the biggest appeal issue, but nobody submitted comments. So I think, go chat with your board or your attorney or both to figure out which way you want to go, if it's just like a shared parking agreement or if it's an easement, and how you want to go about that. Okay, and feel free to, if somebody needs to chat with me about the exact terms that are in the zoning regulations to see what needs to be in there, I'm happy to have a call. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Well, with that, I think we can move on to reviewing and approving the minutes from November 3rd. Feels forever ago.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Kevin. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Elvira, thank you.
It wasn't, no, Alex.
Oh, it was Alex. Okay, sorry, I could not hear. And I think we can do a voice vote for that. Is that correct, Meredith? The minutes.
Yeah, except you gotta hold on a minute. I think Joe needed a break.
Oh, okay. The perils of being on Zoom.
I didn't realize
Aren't there 4 of us if Catherine votes?
Yeah, I mean, there's enough to pass it if you're willing to vote, Catherine, because you weren't there. Did you read through them at least for?
I did read them. So yeah, I would be willing to vote. So
Okay, so yeah.
Let's just all say
Yahoo.
yes.
if ever no issues, okay. Put your hand up if you vote yes or aye.
Aye. Yeah, you have to do it by voice vote.
Aye.
You get your hands up.
Okay,
I heard 3 ayes in the room and I heard you, so.
great. I don't think we have any other business other than Happy New Year, being back for 26. And yeah, do we have a few more meetings scheduled for January and February, Meredith?
So I don't have any other applications right now. So I don't have any applications for January 20th. If the board wants to meet on the 20th, I can prep revised rules of procedure based on the training that we had with VLCT. And the board could have a meeting on just those, or I can wait until we have a meeting with a application on it and just include those on the agenda then.
I just want to say, I thought that the training was very useful. I hadn't, things that I hadn't thought of for a while.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to do the training, Meredith, and hopefully we can, just get in a rhythm of hosting them ever so often. So.
Yep. Nope, that's the plan. And that's also the city is planning to refresh its like committee policies and have regular training for all committees and boards moving forward. You know, different committees have different specialties, but having a, you know, how to run the meeting, things like that, for all of them on a regular basis is something they're going to try to do. It's just that the DRB is a little different with its quasi judicial process. And so we'll definitely do that, and also just try and come up with some other ones that hit more specialized topics here and there for the board. So, but is there a sense of, would you rather just wait for a regular meeting to throw those rules on that agenda, or have a special meeting for it? Or should I just poll people via email, since we don't have everybody? Thoughts?
I would think that it could be piggybacked onto a regular meeting.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a big
It shouldn't be,
deal.
yeah, right. So,
Okay.
I mean, that's the more efficient use of
Is the
time.
more efficient use of time.
Yeah.
And Orca.
There
Okay.
was already a lot of time invested in hearing the guy from the Vermont League of Cities and Towns.
Yes. Okay, so then the next possible meeting, since I don't have an application for the 20th and we blew by that public hearing notice, deadline is February 2nd. And I will keep you informed if we're gonna have that, if I have an application for it or not. And I will also be circulating the 2026 calendar that puts in the notes about when we have meetings that are bumped to Tuesdays because of holidays, and when we're gonna skip a meeting sometime in the summer because I'll be on vacation.
Okay,
So
that's important. Yeah.
Yep.
And summer is right around the corner.
well, you know, the
It
fact that
is.
well, when you have to start scheduling kids summer camp,
Yep.
yes, it's right around the corner. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, great. I suppose we can adjourn. Thank you, Meredith. Thanks everyone for bearing with me being remote.
No, it seemed to work pretty well, Catherine.
I,
Oh, that's
Alex-
nice.
I think Alex actually already made a motion to adjourn.
I did.
Seconded.
Okay, great. Well, you all are so efficient in there. Well, have a good night, everybody.